Howdy friends, welcome back to the House of Tone. My name is Wes Lee. I'm a professional band instrument repair technician. I started a YouTube channel to show what my life is like in the trades. I appreciate you stopping by today. Got a really cool project on the bench today. This is a really old Conn Cornet. Dates from around 1905, 1906. Let's have a closer look. Have a look at this beauty. Man, oh man. The wishbone water keys. I've worked on this horn a couple of times, and one of the things that I had to do was rebuild this wishbone system. I had to repair the posts, the screw, make a spring for it, get everything back in alignment. That's really cool. This is interesting. The lyre holder can move. It's held in by this screw. There's a serial number, patent dates, 1896. Now, you start to see overbuffing. That's the downside. That's the downside of overhauling instruments. People get carried away with the buffing, and they take away the detail of the engraving. But still a beautiful instrument. We're going to give this one a really nice cleaning, but we also have an issue right there, see? Has this little hiccup on its way back up, so we're going to have to do a little detective work. Pretty fair amount of black gunk in the bottom valve caps. There's some scarring on the piston, a little bit there. Here we can see plating failing. If we rotate this on around, could have some pitting there. You can see some debris here inside the ports, just dirt and gunk. Here you can see where the plating has worn away. Now if we come back on the horn from the bottom and we just run it in, you can feel the spot right there. It goes from moving freely, it wants to bind right there. Boom. All the way around. So our first priority is to pull the instrument down and get everything clean. Get all the gunk out of it, and then we have a clean surface to start working from. So here we can see that even though sometimes things look pretty clean, there's a lot of buildup. And that all gets moving around and slushing around in the horn and causes all kinds of problems. So now I'm going to degrease it and give it a chem flush. Friends, remember there are 3 elements to your chemical flush. Degrease it, soap it, lime scale removal. 3 things have to happen. Parts are all clean. I haven't even polished these yet. But when you do a good cleaning, it really just brings back a lot of the shine to the horn. You can see down the tubes. You know they're clean. You get rid of all of that caked on stuff, and everything is super clean. All of our piston parts are laid out. This is number 1, number 2, and number 3. The bottom caps are labeled The top caps are labeled, and those are the stems as I took them off of each piston. I want to talk about what we found on the stems. These divots, they're pretty sharp actually. That one is especially. It looks pretty good on that side. But this side was resting this way in the stroke, and you can feel it catch right there. That could be a part of our problem. So now we're going to turn our attention to the piston casings. There are two spots outside of the knuckles. There's one there, and there is one there. And then there are all these striations in the casing. I'm trying to be as steady with this as I can be. So a valve job would probably be in order for this long term, and that's what I'll suggest to our client. So that's in the number one piston. In the number two, there's lots of pitting. All around the cylinder wall. And then on number three, we've also got, there you can really see it in the bottom. Okay, well, what does this really mean? There are some problem spots. Instrument probably needs a valve job. It's been that way for a long time. It didn't just happen. The problem was in piston number one. Remember, piston number one just really drug and stuttered on the way up. Number three is arguably worse than number one in terms of what that pitting is on the inside of the casing. But yet number three still felt really good. We're going to continue testing, but I believe that we're going to see a couple of other factors that come into play. One, I think, is this valve stem. I think there is something to this. The plating issue. So where are we going with this? The next thing to test, the springs. Now they all look pretty good, but we're going to set up a test for this. Spring for piston one, spring for piston two, spring for piston three. Tried to lay them all against this baseline. Even though spring three is the longest, compression-wise, it feels very close to number two. They have special gauges that you can pull and push on springs to get accurate readings. I'm using my fingers right now. So we're just taking visual assessments. Pinching fingers is good, but let's use something that's a little more quantifiable. I have a whole selection of dial tension gauges. They have a loop here, and they come in different strengths. This one I really like because leave a reading. These measure in newtons, and I have them for dainty little springs on flute all the way up to this guy. This one measures from 0.03 to 3 newtons. Look at how number one is sitting lower in the casing. Number two and number three are setting at about the same. So we want to observe all of this. I'm going to rest the gauge on the tubing so I can keep it somewhat similar. I want to try to be in the center of the finger button if I can. Keep this set. And check my reading. Okay, so I've got just shy of 2. I'm going to reset that, and I'm going to check number 3. Doing about the same. Just shy of 2. Reset. And check number 1. Number 1, just over 1.5. So that's a lot of difference. Okay. Let's just change the spring in number one and retest it. Okay, here's my original number one, and here are two that I have that I want to test with. Take our gauge, go to that same amount. Almost 3. Too much spring tension. Let's do it again just to... Actually, it was over 3. Let's try our next contestant. Its stance is still a little bit shy of what the others are. But let's give this a go. Just shy of 2. This spring is very close to these. Using dial tension gauges can really help take your work to the next level. You can make a reading of what your springs are doing. So I'm very happy with that. Now I want to address the piston stems. I'm just going to bring a nose of live center into it just to help hold things in place. I'm going to use swedging pliers. Find our problem area. There it is. Got it sitting on top. Put the microphone close so you can hear it. You can hear it crash on that spot. Remember that crashing sound from before? Let me see. It's all smooth now. That's what we want. All right, let's check our porting for the upstroke. Make sure that we're in the right spot. That's good. Out of the same package, right hand is thicker than left hand. Even though they're listed as the same, the cuts aren't always the same. I'm going to take a little bit of lapping compound. And I'm just going to go maybe 10 strokes in every direction. This is a very low grit lapping compound that I'm using. It's more of a polishing compound. Okay, let's oil it and try it again. Got it clean. Pushing it specifically that way. That's better. Let's grab the valve cap. So that seems to be good. Now I'm pushing it this way, that way, back this way. Okay, obviously you don't play like this, so that's an abnormal, but pushing it that way, it's not getting caught. And what I'm doing is I'm intentionally pushing it off. Well, all right, friends, that one came out good. It's going to go for a while longer. In the long run, it definitely needs to have a valve job. Someone that's more of a specialist than what I do on that. I'm going to have recommendations for my client when I contact him. But I'm happy with overall with the way that the repair came out. Just a little bit of everything. I think it was a spring problem. I think there was some stem issue. I think some plating was failing, or maybe the piston and the plating were crashing into those spots that are inside the casing. A touch of lapping compound at the end, just dress to all that. Those burrs probably will come back over time once dirt and things are reintroduced into the piston and casing. Using the heavier oil should help with that. I hope this horn keeps going for another 200 years, but that was what I found. It's been a chaotic past couple of days trying to get this video done, but I got it, and I'm on to the next thing. We're going to be talking more about springs. I got some stuff coming down the line on that. Okay, this is Wes Lee signing out.